Was he hurt? And we thought he might have been ejected for a second. What's your take on that and the flurry of penalties he took as well?
Well, he was ejected.
That's what the score sheet says.
What does the score sheet say?
Score sheet says 10-minute response. Unless I read them wrong.
It says response. It says 10-minute response. Doesn't say game response.
I'll ask.
My understanding of it was he was kicked out of the game.
Okay. Mike, what happened? Sorry.
That's okay, go ahead, Ron.
Well, I mean, you guys witnessed it. He had an exchange with the referees. The referees didn't like it. He got high stick and they didn't see it. And so he got a stick in the face and they didn't see it. My sense is that he was upset because, you know, he got 3 minor penalties, one of which was a high stick, and then when he gets high stick, they didn't see it. So he's obviously an emotional guy. You know, his emotions got the best of him in that circumstance, and Gino and I will have a conversation about that. He's got to do a better job controlling his emotions because we need him. And so, but he's an emotional guy, and the stakes are high right now. So that was the circumstance.
Back right, Vince.
Coach, can you just talk about the play of Casey DeSmith tonight? He really had to weather the storm a couple of times there throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, he did. He made some huge saves. You know, he made some big saves, in particular in the third period on the penalty kill. You know, once again, we took a barrage of penalties in the third period, which we have to do a better job at not doing. And we put our team in tough spots when we do, but Casey was there to make some big saves for us. I thought he had a strong team.
Mike, you talk a lot about being in the moment and trying not to be distracted by the constantly changing standings and the scores. How's that going? Is that particularly challenging when it's this tightly bunched together and there's so little time left?
Yeah, well, you know, it's human nature to watch the scoreboard, and we're all well aware of who's winning and who's losing and where we stand. And so, you know, I just think that's human nature. But the most important thing is when we come to the rink to play, that we don't get distracted by that stuff, that we just focus on the task at hand. And that, you know, when we talk about staying in the moment, that's a lot of what we're talking about. You know, let's control the controllables. Let's control our own attitudes, our own effort, our own performance, so that we set ourselves up for success. You know, I think, you know, we still have control of our own destiny here. We've got to make sure that we maximize every opportunity, and the only one that matters is the one right in front of us.
Yeah.
Mike, 3 goals in 2 games. Is it Justin's going in, or what is it that Brian's doing to give himself these opportunities?
Rusty?
Yeah.
I just think he's, you know, he's a pretty conscientious player. He always brings effort, he brings energy. He's a good 2-way player. He's as good of a defensive player as we have on our team. And he brings an offensive dimension to his game. I just think he's a complete player. You know, for a while the other puck didn't go in the net for him. He was getting a number of looks. It wasn't a situation where he wasn't getting opportunities. He was getting them. They just weren't going in the net, and that can be frustrating sometimes for players. And that's the nature of the game. And so, you know, I admire his stick-to-itiveness. He just stayed with it. You know, he's trying to play the game the right way, trying to simplify the game. You know, he's getting rewarded right now. So hopefully, you know, hopefully he can continue to build on it.
More, Rob?
Mike, you've talked often this season about sort of the staying in the moment, like you just did, and I'm curious, how does your team do that when it takes sort of these stinging losses like they had yesterday, and then come back for an emotional game like this? How do they stay in it?
Well, I just think it's you've got to control your focus. You got to control your you know, your thoughts and you know where you allow yourself to go. You know, and that's the most important thing, is making sure that conversation that you have with that guy on your shoulder is the right conversation. And it's you know, and all athletes have that. You know, whether it's before games or in between shifts or in between periods. Those are important conversations. We got to make sure we control our emotions, we control our thoughts, so we stay in the moment, and we don't get overwhelmed by any situations or circumstances. And I think that's an important aspect of having success in pro sports.
Yeah.
Mike, Raquel had 2 goals tonight. He's got a shot at 30 goals for the first time since the 17-18 season. Seems like he gels and kind of uplifts whatever line he's been on throughout the course of the season. What have you come to appreciate about his work on any line that he's on, aside from just the puck skills and the offense that he brings to the team?
Well, Rex he's just a good teammate. You know, he's trying to play the game hard. He's trying to play the game the right way, and he's gifted offensively. He has an uncanny ability to make something out of nothing. You know, I've spoken about that all year long. That's been our observation as a coaching staff and watching him since we've gotten him. You know, he has great tight area skills. His ability to create separation, you know, in traffic and coming out of traffic. Having the stick skills and the vision to be able to make that next play, and he has obviously the fact that he's approaching 30 years, you know, suggests that he can finish, he can score. So, you know, I think he brings both elements of his offensive game: his ability to set up his line mates and make plays, but also his ability to finish. And whatever line he's on, that's what he's doing for us.
Thanks, Coach. It was a game